I can confidently say that the state of our city is strong. Excellent schools, low crime rates, outstanding services, a AAA bond rating, new school buildings, a compassionate and science-driven response to the pandemic, a wonderful community of neighbors. We feel a palpable sense of optimism in the air as the Omicron surge wanes and we can wear masks more selectively. We're confident with the vaccines, boosters, and testings, we can pivot to living with this endemic. With this optimism, it's time to turn our attention to matters at hand. In the next few weeks, we will be putting our final touches on our fiscal year 2023 budget. We are fortunate that while our revenues are still down, they are getting stronger. Thanks to our prudent financial planning, we will be proposing the largest operating budget in the city's history for both the Newton Public Schools and our city departments. In addition, we are fortunate to have access to our one-time American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funds, to help us recover and rebuild, to support those hurt by the pandemic and injustice, and to invest in our community. These investments will make Newton more resilient, livable, vibrant, inclusive, and sustainable. Residents gathered last Wednesday night on Zoom to discuss how to invest our ARPA funds, and the heart and soul of Newton was on full display at this community listening session. Two people who have committed hours and hours to make our roads and sidewalks safer, Jen Martin and Jane Hanser, gave us ideas to make them even better for pedestrians of all ages, runners, and bicyclists. Advocates for people of color and those with financial, housing, food, or mental health challenges, Josephine McNeil and Angela Pitter-Wright, challenged us to prioritize those who have been hurt most by the pandemic. Leaders in lifting our spirits, Gloria Gavris, Chris Pitts, and Jerry Riley, suggested ways to enliven our village centers with light and music. Environmentalists, Marcia Cooper, Alan Nogi, and Alan Gordon, focused on zero waste and ecological investments, and resident David Roll reminded us to improve our pocket parks, such as the River Street Playground. These voices, and many others from across our city, represent what is so great about living here: caring, committed, creative Newtonians. And yet, our lives are full of challenges. Our collective grief from losing 239 Newtonians with COVID weighs on our hearts. Supply chain disruptions, staffing shortages, and inflation are hitting our wallets. Housing prices are through the roof. Inequities dominate the headlines, and we're experiencing far too many incidents of hate and bias. Our mental health has suffered as the stresses of the last few years continue. Even international news about Russia and Ukraine demands our attention. All of this is discomforting. Even with our financial strength, preparing next year's budgets will be a challenge. Costs are up and needs have increased. Despite a 3.5% increase for the Newton Public Schools budget and a 3% increase for the municipal departments, we will still have to make difficult choices. Let me talk more about our Newton Public Schools. This year, 11,700 students will receive a wonderful education, a 1,000 or 8% decrease in enrollment from 5 years ago. Notwithstanding this fact, our school system is poised to, excuse me, to receive one of the single largest annual dollar increases in Newton's history. The NPS FY 2023 budget of $262 million, an $8.9 million increase over last year's spending, demonstrates our deep commitment to learning that defines our community. Additionally, in the last few weeks, I've committed an additional $2 million to NPS for social and emotional support for our students and technology upgrades, among other things. Even with this record investment, combined with decreased enrollment, our superintendent, school committee, and staff will need to work diligently to deploy this funding judiciously. This record-breaking funding eases difficult decisions, but it does not eliminate them. Similarly, we have difficult decisions to make on the municipal side. Each of us will want to appropriate more funding to our parks and playgrounds, our trees and green spaces, our traffic calming, pedestrian and bicycle safety, and roads programs, our municipal and school buildings, and our public safety and health and human services departments. However, while our finances are arguably stronger and certainly stable, we must match our ambitions to what we can afford, just as every household in Newton does. We must prioritize, we must balance our budget. As we work through these funding decisions, I can say confidently that the year ahead will be a banner one in so many ways, and we have much about which to be excited. We will invest in our people, our places, and our community. We are focused on a future where we support our people even more, where we build the schools our children need. We will be cutting the ribbon at our new preschool in 2022, followed by Lincoln Elliott, and with Horseman, Countryside, and Franklin queued up, where our youngsters enjoy a new expanded children's room at the Newton Free Library, opening this summer, where our older residents benefit from a new, accessible, state-of-the-art senior center. We'll honor the memory of Newtonians, such as Audrey Cooper, who we lost last year. Audrey spent decades advocating for our older residents and helped found our first senior center at the former library in Newtonville, which was never designed for the needs of older people. She understood that Newton needs a new senior center and knew we would honor the design elements of our current one. We've promised our older residents a new senior center for too long. Now is the time to keep our promises and give back to the people who have given us so much. Where we weave music and theater more into the everyday fabric of our lives with a performance pavilion at the Newton Center Bowl and a renovated indoor auditorium at the new home of Lincoln Elliott. Where those who are struggling with limited incomes and from mental health challenges, addiction, housing instability, food insecurity, or domestic violence, all exacerbated by COVID, are better connected to care and support, guided in part by our recently completed needs assessment. And where we institutionalize equity and social justice, reinforce inclusion, affirm diverse identities, support victims of hate and bias, foster respect among all of us, and celebrate difference. We will invest in our public spaces and places as we move toward a future where our village centers are more vibrant, with tree-lined wide sidewalks, outdoor dining, a thriving art scene, diverse and affordable housing options, improved streets and lighting, safer infrastructure for walking and biking, and a healthy local business scene. We've completed Newtonville and West Newton Square investments. Next up is Newton Highlands. The City Council, meanwhile, is hard at work on zoning for village centers, which will allow for housing for working people, for young families just starting out, for our older residents when they want to downsize, and for people with limited incomes. We will zone for the future we want and need, where our doors are open wider to people on tighter budgets, with the transformation of the West Newton Armory into 43 green apartments that will be 100% affordable, and the opening of Haywood House, additional apartments at Golda, and new middle-income senior housing at Opus on the 2 Life JCC campus. And we welcome others to Newton through a very effective inclusionary zoning process that creates affordable units alongside the market rate ones at places like Northland and Riverside. We're our first ever affordable housing trust, results in affordable housing coming online faster and more easily. A testament to the tremendous power of working together. The mayor, city councilors, members of the Community Preservation Committee and the Newton Housing Partnership, and the planning and development staff. Where Newton lives up better to our moniker, the Garden City, with improved playing fields, starting with Albemarle and followed by Brown, Oak Hill, McGrath, and Burr. Refurbished playgrounds, improved greenways and accessible trails, more trees, well-maintained parks, along with newly secured open spaces like the one we all fought for, our own Webster Woods, and a new improved Gath Pool, where we have roads and sidewalks in better condition for pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers, and more transportation choices. This past year, I, along with our state delegation led by Representative Khan and with Congressman Auchincloss, secured design funds from the MBTA for new commuter rail stations in Auburndale, West Newton, and Newtonville to allow frequent and accessible service. And we see a path forward to securing the construction funding. We are working with the state to improve Hammond Pond Parkway, transforming it from car-centric to people-centric. And across the city, we are deploying rectangular rapid flashing beacons, piloting temporary speed bumps, refashioning intersections, and installing bike lanes to calm traffic and make it safer and more enjoyable for all of us to get around. Our community must continue to evolve as we move toward a future where Newton continues to lead on green initiatives. So we use less, green the rest, compost more, and recycle right. We're setting the example here with our early childhood center being renovated to be heated with heat pumps rather than natural gas, and the same at Lincoln Elliott. Where city services are easier to use and more responsive to our needs, with our recently launched NewGov, state-of-the-art online information system for permitting and more, as a model, where everyone who works for our city knows they will have excellent health insurance and a funded pension plan. One reason I am so confident in our shared future is that we have such a wonderful team in the city helping us to get there. Our employees did the almost impossible over the last few years. They have never worked harder or under more strenuous conditions. Our teachers, police officers, firefighters, nurses, inspectors, assessors, clerks, DPW and Parks, Rec, and Culture employees, social workers, planners, lawyers, librarians, and health and human services staff, along with so many others, pulled us through the pandemic, and they've gotten vaccinated. They are ready and so able to help us turn our ideas for a better future into concrete actions. We also have a great team of leaders at City Hall. In the last 4 years, we have gone from strength to strength with terrific new department heads. John Carmichael, our new chief of police, is working on all fronts, improving and increasing training, updating policies and procedures, writing positive tickets to kids doing good deeds, and having Leo, our new community service dog, along with his human partner, Officer Justin Lau, all over the city. Michelle Pizzi O'Brien in Human Resources created and recreated again COVID protocols for our employees and expanded our hiring network. John Lojek is heading up our new Gov team. And Josh Morse in Public Buildings seems to have given his cell phone number to every resident and talks to each and every one of them whenever they call. Tonight, I share that Chief Gino Lucchetti, our fire chief, will be celebrating his 65th birthday this summer, which in Massachusetts means mandatory retirement. He has decided to step away in mid-May after 44 and a half years serving this city. This son of the lake, this good human being, and this extraordinary leader, especially during the pandemic, will always be a part of Newton and have a special place in my heart. My thanks include his wife, Louise, for she has made his service possible. We'll find a way, I hope, for an in-person celebration soon. And in the meantime, we'll move forward immediately with the process of selecting his successor. In closing, we live arguably in one of the safest places on the planet, according to resident Dr. Ashish Jha. We have financial strength and committed, engaged city councilors, school committee members, and residents. I know we can listen attentively to hear each other's views, forge compromises, make decisions, take action, and move Newton forward. We have accomplished so much together, and we will accomplish much more. I look forward to all that is to come with hope and with confidence, to facing the challenges that will arise with compassion, clarity, and purpose, to breaking down barriers that still persist in our community, and to seizing the opportunities that we have to build a greater, better, and more beautiful Newton. I didn't consciously plan to give this state of the city on 2/22/22, but bingo, it's auspicious that Tuesday symbolizes cooperation and harmony. Our city clerk, Carol Moore, reports 8 weddings at City Hall today. Working together, we will ensure a positive today and a bright tomorrow for this city we love. Thank you and good night to all of you.